Okay, it's 5 o'clock. Let's call this meeting to order. Would everyone please stand me for the pledge? Stand with me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight we're going to do something a little bit different because Jim Quorum, who has been with the district for over a quarter of a century, is now, he's actually on vacation this week, but I twisted his arm to come in here and be recognized at one final board meeting. And so, Jim, why don't you just come on up? On behalf of the administration, and I think I can speak for a number of board members who've served with Jim over the years. Jim, I just wanted to publicly acknowledge your 26 and a half years of service, I think it is, something like that,
right about there.
with the Oberly area schools. Jim has been a phenomenal teacher for the district. We have actually a number of employees who are teachers or who hold other roles in the district who fondly tell stories about Jim as their science teacher. So he's done a great job for us as a classroom educator. He did a great job for us as a dean at the high school for a few years. And in 2010, actually, January 2010, I think it was, Lori and I decided that we needed an HR department at the school district. We talked to the board about it, and so Jim became the director of, he was the HR director with, I think, an additional duty of the technology director, and then we renamed your position a few years ago. So Jim has been a steady hand in the district, and he is somebody who is counsels principals, teachers, administrators, and the superintendent. And he's recently, within the past year, moved up to Northfield, and so he's had his eye on a couple things potentially in the cities. And he's been hired in Prior Lake to be a similar position in a much bigger district.
Yep.
So, any final words for the board, Jim?
Well, it's been a long time, I guess, when I look back on it, but this is the only place I've ever been educationally. I've had other jobs and been in the military and all that, but as far as an educator, I actually student taught here in the 91-92 school year, and like I said before, things just kind of fell into place. I wasn't necessarily looking for some of these opportunities. They just kind of happened. There wasn't anything open until the end of the school year, and then they had a part-time position open, right? So then I taught, and the next year somebody resigned, and I got a full-time position. And somewhere along the line, I was thinking about going back for my +30, and thought, well, I'll go back for administration just in case. Well, halfway through, I got a call from Al Root about August 10th and said, Ross and Chris are both leaving the high school, and I need some deans. Would you have any interest? And so that happened, and I did that for a while. And then something opened up here. So. People talk about being able to leave a place better than they got it. I think I can actually say that because there was no HR department when I started. So I think I got that one. So, but it's a bit bittersweet because I really like working here. I love working for Mike. We have an amazing admin team. We got outstanding teachers. Definitely headed in the right direction. And so it's a little bittersweet that way, but this is just it's one of those that you kind of keep your eye on and never think are going to open up, and it did. And I was lucky enough to be offered the position, and so next Monday I start. So thanks.
So Jim, you got a 25-year plaque, and so here's the story with that. We always tease about trying to save money in the district. So Jim told me he was accepting the position up in Prior Lake, so he had his 25-year plaque in his office. So I went and took it down, and I went and found Ashley, and we put a piece of tape over the 25, and we put a 26 and a half there, and we gave him the plaque.
So that's my gift.
So, but On behalf of the school board and administration and all the teachers of the school district,
Wow.
I want to present this to you, Jim, and thank you for everything you've done
Thank you.
for us. Good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, why don't we, where do you recommend we do it, new board members? Behind you? Okay. Why don't, so tonight I will start us off here and ask for nominations for the board chair. And then once the board chair is selected, we will turn the gavel over to the board chair and they will run us through the process for all the other officers and run the rest of the meeting. So just once for overall for everybody here, I will ask for nominations. Any member of the board may nominate any other board member or themselves, and nominations do not require a second. If no other nominations are immediately received, the acting chair should pause and repeat the call for nominations. The chair should again pause and repeat the call for nominations a third time to ensure that any board member wishing to make a nomination has ample opportunity to do so. After the third call for nominations, if no other nominations are forthcoming, the acting chair should close the nominations for the office. A motion to reopen nominations may be adopted on a majority vote. So that's what we'll do to get the nominations, and then go to the next slide, Ashley. Once nominations have been called, we will then conduct polling through paper ballots. You'll be asked to vote for a member and write your name at the bottom of each ballot. You may vote for yourself if you desire. Then Ashley will compile and tabulate the results and report them to the board. So that's the process we'll use. Questions on that? Okay, go back to the first slide. All right, so I will ask for nominations for board chair. Do we have any nominations for the chair?
I nominate Ken Peterson for board chair.
Okay. We have Ken Peterson nominated. Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? And do we have any other nominations? So, Ken, I'm assuming that you will accept being chair. And then, if so, then what I will do, since we have no other nominations, I will just, if it's okay with the board, ask for a simple roll call vote of the board. Is that okay? All right. All those in favor of Ken Peterson being chair, respond by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Ken. You are the chair.
Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for their support, and hopefully I can live up to your expectations. Next, I'll take nominations for the vice chair. Is there any nominations?
I nominate Jill Marine.
Is there any other nominations?
Is it on? Yeah. I nominate Dave Klatt.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? And the final one, are there any other nominations? Okay, we have two candidates. We'll take the ballots, please. We'll take treasurer next. Nominations for treasurer.
Nominate Neil Score.
Nominations for treasurer. Nominations for treasurer. Last call, nominations for treasurer. I guess we'll take the roll call vote then. All those in favor of Neil Score as treasurer signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to clerk. Nominations for clerk.
I nominate Jill.
Nominations for clerk. Nominations for clerk. And finally, nominations for clerk. Okay. All those in favor of Jill for clerk signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to standing committees, I think, is next. And I guess you can see what we had in 2018 is, are there any that wish to stay on the same committee?
I wish to stay on policy review and facilities.
Okay.
I too wish to stay on policy.
I'd like to stay on the policy, or the finance, the Elderly Special Ed Co-op. And then I'd like the MSHSL if, since Mark isn't here, that comes up. What's the other one I was on down there too?
Okay. And Neil, you're on the finance committee?
I'm on finance. I would love to be on the facilities committee, but we already have 3.
Well, Dave didn't mention that, so if you want to switch,
Well, I'd love
we can have more. We have an extra member now, too.
You have 3 on each, basically, now that have
I would like to stay in facilities also.
Well, we can, that's fine. If Jill, if you and Dave and Jill want to remain on, that's fine.
No, you can be on
I was
it.
thinking if you wanted to do it, that's why I didn't.
Oh,
He didn't say it, so
okay.
you're good, Neil. Dennis? Or Kim?
There we go. I'd be willing to be on the policy if there's still room.
We'd love to have you.
So could I be on the facilities? Would that,
Sure.
is that, okay,
That would be 4.
that's 4. So there's no really, because Angie, Jill, and Dennis are on policy.
Finance is
Oh.
wide open.
Shoot, yeah. Okay, I'll be with Lori. I'll work with Lori
Okay.
and Dave.
Should we have Neil on there being the treasurer?
Yeah, he's on there automatically. Okay, everything's filled
And
up there?
if, I can remain on the finance committee also, that's fine.
Yeah, treasurer's on there,
Ah,
automatic.
I knew you loved it, Neil.
So who are the members on Finance Committee?
Dave, Neil, and Kim. And I have Jill, Angie, and Dennis on policy. And Neil, myself, do I have a fourth or third one? Jill, okay, Jill on facilities. Okay. MSHSL, you wanted to do that, Dave?
The special ed co.
Curriculum committee,
yeah.
Freeborn County Family Services.
I'm fine staying on unless anybody is interested in that. It meets during lunch hour every other month on a Wednesday. It is a different location, though. It's not at DHS any longer. It's at the Vitality Center on Broadway.
I don't know if we can have 2 on there or not, or how much you want to be on the co-op. I have interest on being on the Austin Albert Lee Special Ed Co-op too. It's very similar to what I do, so I'm kind of geek
think
out
we
on that
can-
kind of stuff.
We have enough people we can go to, I think, in there.
I don't know if we can, because I think there's,
Oh,
it's a-
you
it's
only
a-
get one.
it's a
per
board.
district.
We have got, it's a board member from Austin, board member from Albert Lee. So,
And then the soups and the.
Okay. So we,
Can we talk a little bit about the business ed committee?
sure,
Do we, can Dennis, myself, and Dave all be on that?
I'll go off that.
Okay.
Neil's
Yeah,
better.
I'm on that.
Or I mean Neil, yeah, so then that would be 4 of us. So this, I would like to stay on that one, and if we can have more than one on the Teacher of the Year, I'd love to be on that as well, but
I think we can do that.
if you wanted to do that.
And the business ed is just, I do that for work, I think Kim does it for work. So
Yeah.
that way you'll have good coverage there.
Yeah.
What?
I'm wondering if we don't control Teacher of the Year, so if we put 2 board members on there, that's 2 votes, and I don't know how that works. I can look into it and get back to you.
And if you really want it, I love it. It is the best committee ever. It's a
I'll look into that.
It's a great committee, but I can't make all the meetings. So if you're a better position, they're usually at 3:30. Then, I mean, I could definitely hand it over if you'd like. Why don't we wait to see what you say?
Ashley will check, and then we will find out, and so we'll hold off on, we'll keep you on there, if that's okay, and then Kim, if we can have 2, we'll do it that way. Does that work?
And I would be in support of Angie maybe taking over the spot on special ed this year, since it is her area of expertise in education.
Dave, are you gonna do schools and equity and?
No.
Somebody wanna do schools and equity?
What is that one?
We haven't been real active in that, but they meet, I would say, they have meetings in the cities probably 4 times a year on Friday mornings. And then they have area meetings 2 or 3 times a year in Owatonna. And really, they just give updates on what's happening with the legislature, and they bring in senators and representatives and people from the Department of Education to talk about various issues going on in education.
If you can't make all of them.
It's okay, yeah. Yep.
Okay, Dennis? And you okay if Angie takes the special ed co-op?
I'd almost like to keep it one more year, but, I mean, do we need to go to them for that, Mike? Lori, what do you think? I prefer one more year, and then you can. Okay. Just to get one more, would it be two? It'd be fine. Yeah.
Okay, I think we got everything filled then. You missing anything? I'll do that. Okay, moving on to our next one here. We have, I think we're on 5.3. Am I correct in saying that? No, 5.2, the schedule. I think that came out and everyone had the opportunity to look at it. What are the board's wishes? Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion?
I noticed, yeah, I think it's September meeting, the second meeting is the 4th. Is that because of the levy certification?
Yes, it provides us, last year, actually the last couple of years, the Department of Education has delayed in getting us the information. And so we pushed the meeting back a week so that we have time to prepare it, so that you have the proper information in front of you before we certify the preliminary levy. That's the rationale.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of the meeting schedule signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next we have the name of U.S. Bank, Home Federal Savings, Associated Bank and Trust, Minnesota Bank and Trust as depositories for the school district.
I think, Ken, I think we can take all of those. I mean, treat 5.3 through, scroll up, Ashley, through 5.11 as one action. Unless there's something controversial on there that,
Okay, what are the wishes of the board?
I'll move to approve them in one item.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving them as one item signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, then I'd entertain a motion to do this, so.
For what?
To approve all of them.
Move to approve.
Okay, is there a second? Okay. All those in favor of 5.3 through 5.11 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next, we have a resolution establishing and combining polling places. Lori.
This, again, is a routine thing we have to do every year. So this is actually combined polling places for if the district held a special election in 2020. So the resolution is basically identical to the one that you just revised for 2019 recently, just a couple months ago. So it's just, the only thing different is the date.
Okay. Any questions or motions?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the resolution to establish combined polling places signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have the Halverson bid results. Lori?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Superintendent Funk, for your consideration are the Halverson bid results. The best bid came from J.D. Driver, $2,860,000 even, and I recommend approval of the best bid.
Can you refresh our mind as to what the estimate was for that particular project?
It did come in very close to the budget estimate. I don't have that chart with me right now. We have Dan here from ICS.
It was about 80,000 less. I was like 2,930,000, I believe, was the budget number. So we were under.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or motions?
I move to accept the bid from J.D. Driver for the Halverson project.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, as a result of the fact that my son is involved in subcontracting, I will abstain. I am in favor of the motion, but I will abstain. I do not want to present any impropriety or perception of impropriety.
Understand. Very good. Okay, all those in favor of accepting the bid for Halverson Elementary from J.D. Driver signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the Hammer Complex bid results.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Superintendent Funk, for your consideration are the bid results for the Hammer Complex project, and the best bid on those bid results is the Joseph Company, and we are recommending approval of base bid along with alternate number 2. So the base bid is $13,490,000 even. Alternate number 2, varsity softball infield, the prep work for that is $3,000 to a grand total of the $13,493,000 even. And I do recommend approval of this bid, and it does align with the budget.
Any questions?
And what was the estimate of this Hammer Complex portion?
As was communicated, that the estimate was actually including a contingency of 600 and some thousand. So that, I don't know if Dan, you want to address any further?
Yeah, so the bids were slightly higher than our original estimate. However, they, like Lori indicated, they do fall in within the budget. So just obviously tariffs and other things are playing a part. Construction costs are a bit higher. Right now, we don't have nearly as many bids as you'll see there was on Halverson. Hence, we don't have quite that spread of tight bids. But however, they are within the budget, and the project is achievable with the dollars established.
So, so am I to assume that the estimate then was exactly the amount that we had in the contingency budget, the $649,053, or did it come out exactly to the dollar, or is there more left in the contingency fund, or was the estimate a little bit further off?
Well, there are a variety of things that were solidified along with the entire project. So as we got better estimates on certain things, even such things as the scoreboard. So we were able to fine-tune certain categories of the overall project to align the dollars so this would align with the total budget. So, yes, could there be tweaks in a variety of areas? Yes. And so, I don't know if Dan, you want to address any further on that question?
So there's some direct purchase items that are part of this project.
Say, do you want to come up to the microphone, please?
Dan Thompson, project manager with ICS Consulting. So part of this project, there are some direct purchase items. So the state has done a wonderful job of pre-negotiating some of the direct purchase items, and that I refer to the turf for the football field, the bleachers, as well as the field lighting. So some of those items combined with the base bid amount, then yes, were above our estimate, but those items aren't part of that base bid. So those items are direct purchase. Basically, the best price has been pre-negotiated. You don't need to put that out for public bid. So the combination of those things, as Lori indicated, along with this base bid, which we are recommending for approval tonight, all of those combined do fall within that original budget estimate.
And so the scoreboard is in this estimate, and has it always been in the proposed?
The scoreboard is what we refer to as FF&E, furnitures, fixtures, and equipment, which would be a direct purchase item. So there is no intent for the scoreboard to be included as part of these bid items, so that it's a specialty item. So you don't want to get a bid on a scoreboard necessarily.
Jill, I think your question is, what Dan is trying to say, I believe, is there are certain components of the construction plan that we buy direct through the state, through state purchasing, that we do not go out for bids for because we fall under state purchasing guidelines, which get us best price. So those are not those are part of the overall project that the community approved, but they're not part of the bid process for the work and other construction as part of Hammerfield.
And just to follow up on, the reason we do that is to actually get most cost-efficient pricing. Those things that we could do on a direct purchase through like a state contract, we do that, and it saves us from, let's just say, kind of like overhead pricing with a general contractor. So it's actually saving us money when we can do a direct purchase through a state approved pricing. We do that. It saves us dollars.
The savings that we have there then, we're able to use on, say, on the bidding here, and the contingency. Are there any other bids, large bids outstanding still? Or basically, this should be what it is, and the factor for all the equipment is factored in already, so we should be good to go.
Yes, these are the last bid items that would go through public bid. The remaining items are, as we mentioned, direct purchase through like state contract pricing.
And we already know the prices on all of those.
Yep.
What's the $3,000 for the girls softball alternate to number 2?
So alternate number 2 was the desire to have a turf infield at the varsity softball. To do that, you need the draining requirements, so everything below the surface changes. So there were 2 concepts in the design, the base bid being leave it as ag lime with no option to move to the turf. However, if you're going to move to the turf, you can't just put the turf rug over top of what you had. So the ad is for the difference the contractor has to go through to build it, basically. So drainage essentially is what it is. So.
And then also, my understanding is chain link dugouts at this point?
That is correct. There are some items, so there's construction contingency, so as we move forward and we don't find any surprises, right now off my head, the surprises we would have out at a site like Hammer are gonna be in the soil, the things we don't know, we can't see until we open them. With that being said, in a perfect world, we don't have many of them unknowns, and the remaining contingency could then at that time be decided to move towards, we know what the cost of those dugouts is, Dave, at this time. It was $280,000 was the ad for that alternate. But to achieve everything else you wanted out at the site at this time, that is not on the table.
So then are we looking at chain link dugouts for all 4 fields?
Nope. The varsity softball was a CMU hard-sided dugout from within this base bid that we're recommending. The other three are not. They do have a roof over them and so forth. There's multiple design components that stayed, but basically the masonry dugout was not part of that base bid at the other three fields.
Okay, any more questions? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to accept the Hammer Complex bid.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
I will be abstaining for the same reason. I'm also.
Okay.
Just one question. We have to go to because it's affordable right now. Is there pricing to adjust it up so if there's a booster club or a group that would like to have access to that, what's the time frame or window that they would have opportunity?
I couldn't give you an exact date, but based off of the schedule they need to complete the project, we're gonna be, you know, the sooner we know that, the better, right? Because it involves footings and everything from the ground up. The reality is by the time they start building the dugouts, we're gonna be into the summer construction season. So yes, I would identify there would be an opportunity now and also within the dollars already appropriated to the project. If we define that we didn't have to spend money on dirt, soil corrections, and things like that, I would say if that's the wishes of the district, I think that's always a possibility. We do know what that cost is, though. It's $280,000.
Okay, so the varsity field is at that, and what's the cost on the fields with just the wire fencing right now?
What's the cost for them to be wire versus go to the upcharge?
Yeah.
We don't know that specific breakdown because we're getting a lump sum base bid. Based off of my estimates, those dugouts are probably in the $80,000 range. So you're probably talking, I'm talking total for all of them, right? So, yeah, it's more than double, essentially triples it, almost quadruples it.
But then again, down the road, if monies were being able to be raised, we'd be able to convert them.
They're also built, yes, there's some forethought into the design as to being able potentially to add to that structure to, you know, they have the same roof as the hard-sided dugouts, and there's design components with exactly what you're getting at for the future potentially.
And Dennis, you're not aware of this, but we had a finance committee meeting sometime this November, December, where we were waiting to see what the project came out, to see if we needed to fundraise or get some, so we have somebody designated within the district to really work with the community on fundraising, and this is a potential project just like that, so.
Thank you.
Do you have anybody within the district administratively that would do the fundraising at this point, lead it?
John Double.
Okay, good. And the last question then, Dan, for you would be, so this also includes the decorative fencing around the entire facility? Not chain link on that. Do you know, is that broke on, Steve? It's chained like it is now, only new.
There's also an alternate for that, Dave, and if you go through the packet we assembled, that's all in the breakdown of the bid tabulation. Same thing, we kind of know right now what that cost is. We're recommending approval without those alternates, obviously, at this time. That alternate price is good for 30 days based off the way the bids are written and the specifications. However, the reality is we know what the cost is, right? So if somebody raised those dollars, we have a pretty good idea of what it would take.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Otherwise, we'll vote on it. All those in favor of accepting the Hammer Complex bids from Joseph signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Last item of business is the MSBA Leadership Conference. Dr. Funk.
Yeah, did you get this? Did everybody get this in the mail or not? Oh, okay. Joe, you can remember this. I don't know, Dave, if you were on the board. Kim, you might have been on the board last time. Dave Horsager, I don't know if you remember him talking. Excellent presentation. He speaks on the importance of trust within organizations. So this is the first time since I've been a superintendent that they're actually bringing a speaker back to MSBA. So he will be outstanding. I think he's the keynote on Thursday morning. I have not really perused the rest of the journal here, but I will, and I will send the board just some recommendations and some things to take a look at. I guess my question for the board is, typically Thursday night, we meet for dinner, 6:30, Ashley? Okay. I think we're going to go to Fogo again. I think somebody requested that. Do we want to get together on Wednesday evening as well? And more of a casual dinner at that point. And, you know, as a number of us will be up there, myself and a couple of the new board members will be up there all day on Tuesday night and then all day Wednesday for the new board member orientation. The rest of you, I'm sure, will be coming up in sometime late afternoon. Is there a time that you'd like to get together on Wednesday as a board? Thoughts on that?
I had a quick question on the training. My schedule next week, I have my annual board meeting on Tuesday night, so
Okay.
I'm trying to free my schedule. I for sure want to get up there Thursday. I think I asked Ashley if I can't do the new board member training on that Wednesday, there will be another one offered that I can
There
go
will
to.
be, and I wonder if your grandfather, and have you been through it before?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been through, I think it was level 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, so I think the legality is you have to go through 1 and 2, so
Is there a way to check on that?
we can look.
That would save some
Okay.
stress.
Okay, all right, we'll check on that. Okay. So anything, Ken or the rest of the board, thoughts on Wednesday?
Well, I think for those that are available, maybe, do we have to have a number for a reservation? I would imagine we gotta have reservations. Okay. How many would plan on being there Wednesday night and would like to go to dinner? I mean, it's certainly optional, but. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 of us, something like that. And we, of course, would not have a big meal.
Okay.
Is there sessions on Wednesday?
There are early birds if you want, but other than that, there's no sessions for the evening. The main conference starts on Thursday.
Okay, I think we're set. Any questions about the conference? Always is a great one, and we always learn a lot. And Dennis?
I can't remember on that. So when you're at the state convention like that, it's outside of the open meeting law then? How does that? I couldn't remember, so I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, we are not, it's social, and we're not in our community,
Okay.
and we just don't conduct any business. So, I mean, those are the
I'm going to ask a lot of dumb questions.
oh, that's a good question.
If you miss it on Wednesday, you have to sing in front of everyone.
Jill, you ready to sing?
I will not be officiating this year, so
Okay, you might want to look at sharing rides. I'm going to be leaving from Mankato, so I won't be able to do that this year, but, so, anyway, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Meeting's adjourned.